is going on, people? Welcome back to another episode of Mic'd Up. I'm Michael Schneider. Pleased to be joining you here on Sunday, May 17, 2026. We got some things to talk about. NFL is starting to come back into the mix again. I know we didn't really talk about it too much last week. I got in a couple of deals. Breece Hall getting his big deal for the Jets. But now we're talking about it a little bit more. Very exciting. But it's just scheduling stuff. Nothing too crazy. Kind of predictions maybe. Just kind of some things that I'm excited for the season that maybe not a lot of other people will be excited for. Could just be the fact that I'm a Falcons fan and I'm excited for some of these games. But yeah, so we're gonna get right into it. My microphone is being a pain in my arse right now. So yeah. Obviously, starting off NBA playoffs, we're finishing up round 2. Hasn't been anything crazy so far, except for Cleveland and Detroit. I know that's going into a Game 7 tonight at 8. I believe that's happening in Detroit, actually. And then again, it's the same thing with Detroit. Obviously, we know it happened first round with the Magic. They kind of struggled to them early, and now they're kind of paying the toll. But, obviously, Cleveland's a good team. They've always been a good team playoff-wise, especially with Donovan Mitchell. But yeah, so we got an exciting game. Be sure to keep an eye out for that. And a lot of the higher seeds, or a lot of the more solidified higher seeds that kind of went through a lot more torment, I'd say, in the late season, are kind of sitting back and relaxing. They're kind of enjoying their time off. Obviously, the Knicks haven't played in a week, dating today, because I think they played, 3:30 last Sunday against the Sixers. I think I was talking about that, literally in the middle or before the game started, or right when it was happening. But yeah, so the Knicks, they're waiting to see who will come out of this Detroit and Cleveland game in 7. Obviously, Cunningham versus Mitchell. So yeah, going to see who advances to the Eastern Conference Finals. They play the Knicks. So if obviously Detroit wins, they will have home field advantage again against the Knicks. Obviously, Knicks are 3 seed. Detroit's the 1st seed. And Cleveland, they win, they will be visiting New York for the first couple of games of the Eastern Conference Finals, which probably wouldn't be too ideal, especially in a game like that's magnitude. But I think regardless, it doesn't matter who's going to the Eastern Conference Finals. It's going to be one of the powerhouses that we have in the Western Conference that's going to take it all. Not saying I doubt what the Knicks can do. Obviously, they've played dominant for the past couple of rounds. Obviously, they kind of started off a little shaky with the Hawks, but I think when they kind of got in their groove, obviously you kind of saw it happen. But I'm just finding any way to bring my Hawks in that conversation. Very rough, very rough. But yeah, obviously other than that, talking more about the Western Conference, obviously SGA, back-to-back MVPs, just complete dominance, but also the flop master, as a lot of people like to say. It's becoming kind of a parallel with the Chiefs, but realistically, nobody wants to see a team win as much as you've seen a team like the Chiefs in the NFL or the Thunder in the NBA win. So a lot of people are going to be angry. A lot of people said, what I saw was Spurs. If they get dominant with Victor Wembanyama and that whole team in San Antonio, then people are going to be hating on them. Blah blah blah. But I think Victor Wembanyama's he's not as much as a I feel like he seems like more of a genuine person. Obviously, SGA, I think he's cool. Very egotistical, I'd say, in a way. But, there's people like Anthony Edwards that are the same way. But Anthony Edwards, he's fun with it. He's not, kind of, stuck up, I'd say, with it. But this is less about, kind of people's egos and more about, their actual play. Speaking of Anthony Edwards, this is very rough. I believe it was, Friday, Thursday. They're going home. The Timberwolves got beat by the Spurs, like we were just talking about. Victor Wembanyama took out them. It's rough, Obviously, a close second to the Hawks would be the Timberwolves. I wouldn't say close, because obviously from Atlanta, I bleed the red and white and orange of the Atlanta Hawks. Braves too. But yeah, no, it's rough. Obviously, I have a lot of respect for Anthony Edwards. He's such a tough player. I'd say the king of aura when it comes to the NBA. I don't think anybody has as much aura as he does. Obviously, we could talk about LeBron, but LeBron's 40, damn near. He's unk, all right? He's unk. So, that's what we got going on. Obviously, Anthony Edwards, he's going home again. But it's okay. He'll be back. Well, he will be making it further in the playoffs next year when he is finally traded to the Atlanta Hawks. Also with Giannis coming to Atlanta as well. clearly neither of those are happening. But if we can get one of those guys, oh man, watch out. Especially a team this kind of unexperienced and a team this young to make the playoffs and do what they did against the Knicks in the first couple of games, or in the first few games, I should say. Oh yeah, they will be trouble. That's for sure. To come. I don't see the Hawks making the play-in for like another however many years, half a decade. I want to say they're starting something powerful. I don't know how powerful it's going to be, but I mean, buckle in. All right, buckle in. There's nobody in our conference that could or not a conference. There's nobody in our division that could possibly rival us. I mean, we got the Hornets, we've got Magic. I believe is in our Magic, Hornets. I'm really bad with these divisions. Just shows you how little ball I know about basketball. We're getting there. But yeah, so Wembanyama, obviously they destroy the Wolves in Minnesota. It was like 139 to 109. Victor Wembanyama had like 20 something, damn near 30 points. I want to say a little over, if anything. I know SGA beat the crap out of LeBron James, and well, not to beat the crap, but I mean, as a single individual, 35 points in a game 4. Obviously, they swept. I talked about this on Monday. We knew this was going to happen, but I mean, Lakers did put up a damn good, performance, and even though getting swept, a lot of other teams can't say the same, especially teams like the Sixers and whatnot. You're getting swept in just completely embarrassing fashion. But obviously, I have no room to talk. None at all. My guys. God rest their souls. But yeah, that's what we got going on. Obviously, the Spurs, Oklahoma City, they kick off tomorrow night in Oklahoma City at the Thunder. I believe that game's at 7:30 or 8. I might be a little later than that because they're on the West Coast, so it'll be kind of back a few hours. Could be around 10. I completely forgot the time when I was checking, but that's what we got going on in the NBA. As far as I'm concerned, we talked about SGA, 2 MVPs back to back. Oh man, strap in. Eastern Conference and the Western Conference Finals are going to be exciting, that's for sure. Eastern Conference could be more of like a one-sided affair depending on who goes. I'd say if Detroit wins, Detroit moves on. Knicks are going to bash them. Cleveland moves on. I mean, it's just so... Detroit can be so unpredictable. I think it just takes them a little bit to kind of get kicked off. But obviously they're going to have... Detroit's going to have like little to no time to prepare because they play Game 7 tonight, and if they win Game 7, they go to... or they stay in Detroit, actually, which is like the real only advantage that they have. And also the fact that New York has not played in well over a week. By the time they'd be playing New York, obviously on Tuesday. So let's hope Brunson and OG Anunoby and all those fellas are ready for, this stagnant week and a couple of days of just not doing anything like competitive wise against other teams, but obviously keeping themselves warm, I'm sure. Yeah, so that's what we got. NBA, obviously, round 2 wrapping up. It's been a pretty boring, nothing crazy going on. Obviously, the only thing that's really been talked about is LeBron potentially retiring after this season, so that's kind of the question that we have going into the offseason. It's like the whole thing with Tom Brady all over again. But the difference was that Tom Brady was definitely a lot more dominant over his league kind of towards the end of his career. Football, basketball, 2 completely different sports. That's what we got going on. Obviously, MLB, not too much to talk about there. Standings haven't really budged. I know the Yankees dropped below the Dodgers. Dodgers kind of went up. They're kind of back to, I'd say, pretty good ways. I think they've been in a kind of interesting skid, even though they've won a couple of series. Obviously, the Braves were able to take the series in Los Angeles. I think I talked about that last Monday. So, yeah, they're kind of moving their way back up. Obviously, I think the rotation is still the same. It's Braves, Rays, Cubs. It's very interesting from the Rays, obviously. One of the more interesting stadiums out of those top 3. I know they've been playing pretty good. They're 29-15, if I'm not mistaken, or 16. Obviously, Braves first to 30 wins. They were first to 20 as well. They're 31-15 right now. They're actually in a game with the... My phone real quick, I can't check it. They're in a game with the Red Sox right now. They lost last night, towards the bottom of the game. and then they won in extra innings the day before, 3-2. So they kind of got a tight series against the Red Sox. So I think they're just kind of coasting out, next couple of series, or at least this series, from busting their ass to beat the Cubs, to beat the Dodgers, to beat these high teams. And so yeah, obviously, hoping they can pull it off today though, because we've literally only lost one series this entire season. So that would be huge. That would be huge. That's what we got going on in MLB. Like I said, not much to talk about. PGA Tour. We got the PGA Championship this weekend, and it's been exciting. It's been exciting for a lot of the guys. There's been huge jumps. There's been huge falls, and then there's just been guys that never were able to get kicked off from the start. One of those names being Bryson DeChambeau, and let's talk about Bryson. Obviously, 3 of his last 4 majors in the PGA Tour, he's missed the cut. I think the last one was the U.S. Open last year was it the U.S. Open? That was so long ago. That was like 2024. He's definitely played in a lot more majors than that. But yeah, so obviously he got cut. Obviously, we're talking about Masters. Got cut this weekend. I mean, what's next for him? Obviously, we have U.S. Open, which he's won, which if he gets cut there, then we really have an issue with Bryson. Oh, obviously, there was a clip of him literally slamming a ball into a staircase. I believe it was he was confused. It was not a drop rule or something. I don't know. Just play the ball where it lies. I mean, realistically, that is a hell of a shot to come back from. And then I heard he had another bunker mishap on Friday when he was trying to mount something, and it's just bunker. It's just hole 11 all over again at the Masters. So obviously rough for him. Really respect the guy. Obviously, a lot of other people will think otherwise, but at this point, it's not really a LIV golf thing. It's all the same shit. It's golf. Obviously, I think Bryson DeChambeau might be able to compete a little bit better if guys were screaming and throwing beers at him. Obviously that's what I've seen from the LIV at least. I haven't spent too much time watching it, but I mean, I can tell you enough slander about LIV, and it wouldn't be enough because it's not that. Obviously, John Rahm is literally one of the 5 guys tied for second, only down by 2 strokes to Alex Smalley right now on the rankings. But I mean, you can just look at these right now, and it is such a fun. It's like a roller coaster of emotions going on. There's been guys jumping up. I know Rory was over, damn near cut line on Friday when they finished. At one point, he kind of skid back up, but yesterday he shot under 5 or something like that, and he played a magnificent round. Yeah, he shot 67 on Thursday, so it wasn't too bad. But he shot 4 over par. He shot 3 under on Friday, and then he shot 4 under yesterday. So he's kind of back up there. He's at under 3 right now. So he tees off 205. A lot of guys are playing right now. I believe Scotty Scheffler is one of the guys that are kind of playing right now. Yeah, he's through 10. He's under 2. So obviously, what we thought Scotty was going to do was win this because he was coming out real strong off rip, and then he kind of just stayed in the middle of the pack. I think he had the lead with a couple of guys, or a few guys coming out Thursday. It was under 3, I think, was the tying score. As far as I'm concerned, that's a lot of the scores that a ton of guys are tied up with right now. But you look at this, like I said, you look at this leaderboard, and it's madness. It is so much guys just under 4, under 4, under 4, under 4, under 4. I mean, even right now, when I was about to record this, I was looking at the leaderboard, just kind of checking up on stuff, watching it, and it was 5 guys tied for 5th, and now it's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. John Rahm, obviously, Ludwig Aberg, one of the 2 guys in there. Obviously, Hideki Matsuyama is one of the other guys in that group. McNeely, Schmid, Rye, a lot of the guys. And then we look down at, tied for, and yeah, I mean, tied for second for 8 spots. And then we go down to, it jumps from tied for second to tied for 10th. And then it goes from tied for 10th to tied for 18th. And that just goes on for 8. That's got to be 10 guys. So, I mean, it's been super exciting. Hideki, I think, just shot a bogey, so now he's down. But still, huge group of guys. I know that there was a clip of Cameron Young. I want to say, did he even make the cut? Cameron Young, he's shooting under one right now, but I know that, yesterday, there's a clip of him, forgetting on what hole, it's a pretty close putt. And he just pulls what so many of, us recreational golfers pull, and it's just like lips it, misses it, and then I think on the third putt, kind of in that sequence, he finally gets it in. But I mean, dude, you got it. I mean, it's a hard course, and clearly you're seeing it here. Not high scores when you look at golf, and you look at a lot of these courses, like a lot of these random tournaments, you'll see guys up like under 20, kind of in that ballpark, or like you see kind of these, I wouldn't say majors, but these more of these like kind of bigger championships and these bigger tournaments, and you see them like under like double digits at least, under 10, under 11, 12, 13, 14, and so on and so forth. But no, the leader right now is under 6, which is pretty impressive compared to what we've had for the past few days. A lot of these guys have been under 3. I think finishing out the day to tie up. I believe under 5 was kind of like a stretch for a lot of the guys yesterday. But under 6 is definitely something for Smalley here. He's looking to close it out. He started off with a 67 in round 1. Huge. He's kind of just been consistently good through the whole thing. Obviously, a lot of the guys like McNeely had a lot of the lead on, I want to say, Friday before the cut line really came into effect. I know JJ Spawn was also with Bryson and a bunch of those guys on the cut line. I was kind of scared. I thought Justin Rose was going to be part of that cut line. He shot really good Friday, was able to get in, just kind of scrape through. But yeah, no, fortunately we don't have anything from Scotty. Probably not. He probably won't be taking it home. But a lot of the guys are still TBD on their tee times. Well, should be teeing off around now. It's 2:15 right now. We should be having Rye and Ludwig Aberg. He should be teeing off right now. In 10 minutes, we have like Taylor Schmid, John Rahm, Xander Schauffele, and Rory should have teed off like 10 minutes ago. Leaderboard's probably not updated, but that's the times we got going on. Obviously, I think by the time anybody will see this, it'll kind of be a little bit closer to the conclusion of the tournament. But that's what we got going on. So obviously, huge. Seeing who's going to win this, it might not be somebody that's been winning on the tour. Obviously, we had a lot of stuff going on. But that's what we got going on. PGA Championship right now in Pennsylvania. Yep. Going on in damn near, was it around Philadelphia? Yeah, it's like 20, 30 minutes, I want to say, out of downtown Philadelphia. I don't know my geography up in that area. Never been, never will be, never will intend to be up there. Obviously, like I said, I'm not a huge North guy. That's not what we're talking about. Obviously, we are going now from PGA Tour to the NFL, the regular season. Obviously, huge. And I believe this is a record. It should be a record. 9 international games, obviously, when the schedule released. They released like a ton of different games before the actual like schedule release. So it's not really like a schedule release. It's like kind of like filling in the blanks, even though they've kind of given us a lot of stuff already. So, okay. So, 9 international games. Obviously, we have Melbourne, I believe, Paris. I think Australia and Paris, France are the 2 new ones. I don't believe they were there last year. Rio de Janeiro was obviously last year. I believe this year it's Cowboys, Ravens. That will be that one, obviously. Madrid, Spain. That will be the Falcons and the Bengals. Very interesting matchup. Very random matchup, if anything. I'd expect, the Falcons to be... I'm really surprised the Falcons didn't get the Germany game. I believe that's what, Panthers... Patriots? I don't know. Oh, God. Yeah, no, I'm surprised Falcons don't get a Germany game. I think they're, like, one of the most, like, heavily involved teams with, like, Germany. I think that they're, like, really highly advertised in Germany in the NFL. So they're playing in Spain. Kind of new territory for the Atlanta Falcons. I believe new territory for the Bengals. New territory for a lot of teams. As far as these international games go, obviously we had, Packers Eagles last year. I think that was like kind of the debut game, or was that like 2 years ago? I'm trying to remember. No, that was like two years ago. That was I believe that was Saquon's first year. And that was so long ago, because I remember Eagles played Thursday Night Football last year against Cowboys to begin the year. Just kind of out of touch with my time slots. But obviously this year is bringing in the Wednesday season opener. At 8:20 p.m., the Seattle Seahawks are obviously hosting the New England Patriots. I'm not sure how I feel about this Wednesday, Thursday. I don't think there's a Friday game. Usually, like the international game, they start off with an international game on the first Friday, or at least they did that with the Eagles and the Packers. But starting Wednesday, I think there's a Thursday game. The Thursday game's the international game. The Bears debut in Thursday will be in Melbourne, Australia. It'll be the Rams, Niners. Good little divisional matchup to kind of start off the season. And then we have a great matchup in the Patriots Seahawks. Hoping that we can kind of get a little bit more fireworks compared to the Super Bowl that we had. And then this is kind of what the rest of Week 1 looks like. So we got Bears, Panthers, Bucks, Bengals. None that's kind of too much as I'm initially looking at this. A lot of obviously like interdivisional matchups for the most part, kind of filling in the gaps. Obviously Broncos Chiefs on Monday Night Football on the 14th. So definitely keep an eye out for those. There won't be a Friday game this year. I don't believe there was a Friday game last year. But yeah, like I said, that would be the international game. But Thursday Night Football on Netflix. On Netflix will be the 49ers Rams. Purdy versus Stafford. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. Bears Panthers, that could be an interesting game. This is kind of like what the 1 p.m. slate looks like. Obviously Cowboys Giants on Sunday Night Football. Don't know how I feel about that. Commanders Eagles Packers Vikings, that could be it's not gonna be a good game. What am I saying? Dolphins Raiders, really random game. That's a really crappy game. Definitely don't watch that one. Cardinals Jets Titans, Falcons Steelers, Browns, Jags, Ravens, Colts. Ravens, Colts could be a good one. Depends on who kind of comes in for the Colts. If Danny Jones is, going to be ready by that time, or it's going to be Anthony Richardson or Riley Leonard. So that's what we got going on. Bills, Texans could be a solid game. I mean, it's really going to be a tone setter for the new regime in Buffalo, new coaching regime for the most part in Buffalo, and then obviously C.J. Stroud. A lot of people were hoping that he kind of bounces back from his sophomore-ish slump, even though he's been in the league for a few years now. Saints Lions could be an interesting game that we look back on later in the season. Obviously, Saints. A lot of people are they have high hopes for the Saints. I don't. So yeah, that's what we got going on. Bucks Bengals could be a good one. Bucks Bengals could be a really good one. Two really, I don't want to say mid-tier teams, because I know damn well the Bengals have all the potential in the world right now. It's just I think them and Zach Taylor's a really toxic relationship. So that's what we got going on. I believe week 2. No, not week 2. I believe it's week 3. This is something I wanted to highlight. Not this necessarily, but obviously week 3 Thursday Night Football will kick off in Green Bay. Falcons Packers, and it's a really interesting matchup that we got going on. Obviously, I think the Packers are going to win that one. Falcons currently have the 5th or 6th lowest strength of schedule or strength of record from 2025 as of opponents, and damn well they're about to go 5 wins, 6 wins, maybe 8 and 9, 7 and 10 around that area. But it really just comes down to the quarterback play. But realistically, a lot of people don't have high expectations for the Atlanta Falcons, especially with the new coaching regime. But I think that a lot of people could potentially be shocked. I really like what I see from the team. I really like what I see from the rookies, especially with rookie mini camps and whatnot. I liked what I see. I liked what I saw from Zachariah Branch. I know I've seen clips on Instagram and stuff like that of Zachariah Branch running routes and just kind of footwork and stuff like that. And he looks like a really giddy guy. He can kind of get on it and just dip. Like Tyreek Hill, for instance, A lot of people weren't high on him. Obviously, he blew up. So I think Zachariah Branch is kind of like the same archetype. Closest comparison I could possibly think of. So that's what we got going on. Obviously, there's going to be a Thanksgiving Eve game, which, okay, cool. Thanksgiving games this year are really random. I know there's like Rams Cowboys or something like that, or Cowboys play like the Giants. I mean, I'd have to look, but no, Rams play on Thanksgiving. I kind of see like the Thanksgiving games more of like kind of like these old historic rivalries, like Packers, kind of like this up north or like kind of western eastern type of like where we got Dallas, Texas stretching all the way to Washington D.C. and it's like their divisions clearly are not geographically logical, So, but obviously it's like ancient rivalries. This year we have like a couple of random matchups for Thanksgiving. Obviously, Thanksgiving Eve game, I wouldn't say it's too necessary, but I believe that's Thursday? It's another Wednesday game. So they're kind of implementing this kind of Wednesday schedule. But that will be, I believe that's actually, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, like I said, like Green Bay, kind of like the NFC North. I think NFC North, NFC West, maybe AFC like East, or like kind of like the good like ballpark for these games, like minus the Dolphins because they're like a Florida team. And I think when you think of Thanksgiving, you think of like more, you think of states, you think of regions that can more like, you can kind of feel fall. Florida, you don't feel shit. Especially not in Miami. It's hot as hell all year. 365, 24/7. So that's what we got going on. But like I said, like I was looking at right here, Packers, usually they always play Thanksgiving. It's always like Bears, Vikings, pretty much Bears because, such an iconic rivalry. Or Lions, one of the two. I think that whole division is just constant warfare, probably the most brutal, other than obviously the AFC North, which the North is just madness. But yeah, Packers play the Rams on Thanksgiving Eve. I don't know. I'm not gonna say it's not a good matchup. It's gonna be a good game. It's gonna be a great game, but it's just doesn't fit in with like traditional. But I guess the whole thing about the NFL is just not keeping it traditional. One thing I did want to talk about in one of these primetime games is obviously Sunday Night Football. I believe week 4, or week 5. Let me see. Week 4, I believe, because the Falcons play like 3 straight damn near games in prime time. Yeah. Monday Night Football, October 5th, 2026, week number 4, Falcons Saints. I really like this because this is kind of keeping traditional to what we used to have. Obviously, we don't have Matt Ryan or we don't have Drew Brees, but this was like one of the most iconic games or kind of the iconic matchups. One of the most iconic matchups that I have kind of seen throughout my childhood. I've always seen it either Sunday night, Monday night. There was a couple of Thursday night games I remember, or like a game or two. But I just love these games. I feel like realistically, we got to bring the NFC South back to Thanksgiving games. Like I'm talking like at least Falcons Saints, because that's easily the best rivalry in the division. One of the top 5 in the conference for sure. Top 10 in the league. Could even say that, but a lot of people, they don't put a lot of respect on this division or on this matchup. They don't put a lot of respect on the rivalry. Obviously, it's true hatred. Dare I say it rivals Packers-Bears. Could be biased, but I think that my hate for the Saints is just that strong, and I think it's a lot stronger than a lot of these rivalries that a lot of people are saying. Oh yeah, dude, we got Rams, Seahawks. Yeah, it's two powerhouses going at it. It's going to be high scoring. You're not seeing a lot of like true hatred. You got kind of like these bigger celebrity players that are kind of like having smoke with each other. Like we've had like Ramsey and Metcalf, kind of like that thing. But you haven't seen like true hatred until you've been in the South with the Falcons and the Saints. I think it's just iconic. And obviously kind of putting this rivalry under a spotlight again is perfect. Even though the Saints will get swept this year again, they'll get beat at home and away. Obviously, this game will be in New Orleans on Monday, October 5th, week 4. Saints are getting swept again. That's for sure. We are not that bad. We're sweeping the Saints. We're taking the division, realistically. We're taking the Saints, taking the Bucks, taking the Panthers, but we still won't make the playoffs. Somebody else will, even though it's kind of not how it works. But the Falcons will find a way, unless this whole new regime with Ian Cunningham and Kevin Stefanski is just night and day, which I'm really hoping it is. It could be. Who knows? Obviously, that's huge. I think week 5, Falcons play the Ravens on Sunday Night Football in week 5. Obviously, Lamar Jackson probably going to deuce on us with that whole team. We might be cooked. I mean, I think the only thing we have going for us is that we can probably exploit their defense to the max. And, James Pierce or Jalen Walker, or if James Pierce and Jalen Walker lock the fuck in, then Lamar Jackson will be boxed up. All right. But I'm really excited to see kind of what's to come. Obviously there's still a lot of stuff we've got to look into when we come more towards the predictions. I want to try and get my kind of season predictions done by next Sunday, next episode. I might have a little bit more news there. I could be spoiling it this episode, but I think that's kind of where we're gonna wrap up. Is that solo hosting, like what I'm doing right now, talking to myself like I'm a schizo. I wouldn't say it's coming to an end, but we could have a break in a few weeks. Taking a trip somewhere, all right? And a little bit of foreshadowing, if everything goes according to plan, which not making any promises, but we could have a solid group of guys to talk some ball a few weeks, June, kind of beginning second week of June. We could have a good group of guys to talk about some ball. Very exciting, very wonderful, great group of guys. A great group of guys that know a lot of ball in spots that I may not. And that's typically just basketball. And a lot of them played basketball in some form. But yeah, no, we can talk. We're going to be talking about a lot of stuff, no matter what's going on in the week with sports. But I think I'm revealing too much, so I got to cut myself off. But despite that, we got a lot of stuff going on, obviously. Like I said, we have the Eastern Conference Finals, Western Conference Finals starting this week. Exciting. And the finals are in a couple of weeks, depending on who gets swept and who doesn't, who goes to a Game 7 and who doesn't. Obviously, I think Detroit, they move on. It'll go to a 7-game series. Not just because Detroit's that good. It's just because the Knicks, they're looking for a choke. The Knicks are looking for a choke. They win this whole charade for decades. I want to say centuries. Not really centuries. NBA has not been... The Knicks haven't existed for that long. But the Knicks have been around for a minute to know that this is too good to be true, damn near. Out of respect for OG Anunoby and potentially Karl Anthony Towns, not Jalen Brunson. I hope it isn't, kind of, even though, I hate New York. OG Anunoby, Cat, they have a decent smidge of my respect. Not enough to kind of be like, oh yeah, dude, I'm rooting for the Knicks. But I mean, there's really nobody else in the East that I think has a single chance of taking down the monsters that lurk in the West. And that's kind of been the narrative for all these years. Has been the West has been just dominant. So yeah, obviously that's what we got going on. Kind of like the main stepping point or main talking point. But that's what we got going on. I hope everybody has a great rest of their day. It's Sunday, May 17th. I hope everyone has a great rest of their week. Obviously, the motto. You know the motto. I kind of have to, obviously for the love of the game. But also, chase your dreams. Don't let anybody tell you what to do. They do not know you. If I can get on here and talk to myself for damn near a year, I'm just dragging on the outro, but we've been here on here for damn near a year now. You can do whatever you want, and don't be scared to embarrass yourself, because let me tell you, I think that the original or the initial feeling of embarrassment is nothing compared to the euphoria that you may feel when you kind of get over this feeling. But I'm not going to drag it on. But like I said, obviously you can do whatever the fuck you want. You just got to stick to your plan. You got to believe that you know what you're doing is what you want to do for the rest of your life. And you can do whatever the hell you want. It doesn't matter how long it takes. As long as you love what you're doing, you don't work a day in your life. That's kind of my motivation. It's kind of my, pre-gaming Mike Motivational Monday quote right there. But other than that, I hope everyone has a great week. Obviously, we're halfway mark of May, so still got a little bit more to come. Some interesting stuff to talk about with sports and the show. Got to start working on Instagram and social medias again. So catch me there. MikeDup.sports on most of the socials. I think Twitter's like the only one that's like MikeDup_sports. So look me up there. But other than that, I hope everyone has a great rest of their day, great rest of their week. I'll catch you guys next Sunday, the 24th. Hopefully around noon. But I'll see you guys. Deuces.